What's up, guys? Welcome back, Lock It In Podcast. If you're one of our 48 faithful subscribers, man, dude, we got a treat for you today, man. First, all new segment. We are previewing some games. We know you guys like some of our reactions. We're gonna get some previews, kind of talk about what we think about going into these matchups. This weekend, Dylan, we got a good little doubleheader going on. CBS Sports Classic. First game, we got St. John's versus Kentucky. Spread is 2.5, I think. Yes, it is 2.5 St. John's. Going into this game, what is the one key for St. John's to win this game?
I would say just continue to stifle the Kentucky offense. I think the offense of Kentucky has not been where we thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year. So don't let them get comfortable in the rhythm and the flow of the game. Continue to make tough looks, be tough looks. The good news about this game for both teams is somebody's got to win it. We've been talking about how these teams have been disappointing all year. Well, somebody's got to win this game. So I don't know if that's going to be St. John's. I don't know if it's going to be Kentucky. If I'm St. John's, if I'm Rick Pitino, I'm trying to find ways to make Kentucky shoot as tough as shots as possible just so they can't get into that flow of their offense because they've been struggling so hard to get into that flow of their offense this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you look at these last fives for both teams. Kentucky obviously had a good win against Indiana. But I think what was key for Kentucky in that win was just their defense. I mean, they held Indiana to 17% from three-point land throughout the game. Tucker DeVries didn't have a crazy game. He only had 15, 4 of 13 from the floor. Lamar Wilkerson didn't have a crazy game either. He kind of held everyone in check, held the role players in check. So that's what I think is key for St. John's is, like you said, just the defensive end. I mean, obviously Kentucky has struggled kind of throughout the year, like you said, but like you can start to see Kentucky with they bottomed out a little bit. They're starting to traject back up.
Yep.
In a way. I think they're starting to get some of their injured players back. I think this is a key game for them in turning it around because I think this could either spiral them to just an absolute horrible season or this could be a great win headed into the break, headed into conference play. So,
and like I said, one of these teams has to win the game.
Yeah.
The other thing is like it's just tough to like compartmentalize these games. One of these teams has to win the game. One of these teams has to lose the game. So if you're Patino and you end up losing this game, it's like, bro, you've lost a lot of really like tough games. That's the other thing. Like these guys have not played cakewalk schedules. Kentucky's played some really tough teams. They have 4 losses to like 4 ranked teams. So it's like it's not like they have been playing bad teams. If they lose on Saturday, it's like it's another loss to a top ranked team. Like at the end of the day, yes, you do want to see somehow you're putting together these pieces because, like, at the end of the day, you're in the SEC. Like, it's not like you're going to be playing this cupcake schedule for the rest of the year, but, like, give yourself some grace a little bit. I know Kentucky Wildcat fans are about as passionate as possible on the face of this planet. So, I mean, we got to be able to find a way to compartmentalize this game if you do end up losing.
Yeah, expectations are just so high for Kentucky every year. I think going in, like, I don't think there's many college basketball programs that have as high expectations as they do. And, thinking even like their last 2 losses, UNC at home, obviously that was a tough loss. But then to come on the road like 3 days later and play Gonzaga and, get 30-piece, like, this is just stuff like you got to take some of these growing pains and, like, with bringing the new roster, I think. And I think long term, I know, like, not to say that the non-conference doesn't mean anything, but non-conference is just gearing you up for conference play. That's what it comes down to. Like I think a lot of Kentucky fans are gonna be happy if Kentucky say they lose this game tomorrow, and they're 7-5 and not a great non-conference record, and then they go to conference play and they're top 5 and it's hard to put maybe like 13-5 or something. Like that, they'll be very happy with that. They'll be very happy with that rather than them go undefeated in non-conference and then have a horrible conference play.
Yeah, and I think there's more to the story other than just the record. Like, if you look at all the advanced metrics, Kentucky has actually had the best defensive season they've had in a really, really long time. So I think that's a really big positive then for them just to keep that in mind. Also, they're shooting 32% on the season from 3. That's just not a Kentucky-led team. Like, that's not like a Kentucky-esque team. There's going to be some, like, progression to the mean What I mean by that is like the league average or Division One average like 37, 38%. They're going to like progress to that mean. Like I don't think they're ever going to be an elite 3-point shooting team just by how we've seen at the beginning of the year, but like they're going to pick it up on the offensive end. I don't think that it's end all be all for Kentucky in terms of offense and offensive flow and everything. I just think there's going to be they're not going to end the season at 32%. Does that make sense? Like it's just not going to like this trend isn't going to continue for as long as we talk about them.
I think for me too, good just finishing it, wrapping up for St. John's. What I really want to see is these guards for St. John's really starting to take over and kind of live up to that expectation. That I think this game in general is just a comparison of two teams with a lot of transfers and high expectations and a lot of talent, but just not really meshing well yet. So Sanon and Jackson, like just to see them kind of take that next step, see some growth in this game and going forward, headed into conference play, because they're going to need them when they go up against UConn. And I mean this Big East schedule. I mean it's wouldn't necessarily, like, not a lot of AP poll teams or whatever, but it's a tough conference. Like I mean they're going to need these guards to step up.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the low major and mid major smaller point guards, Dylan Darling is kind of following in the footsteps of a couple of other low major, mid major guards that are struggling this year and have been in the past. Only 6 points a game, 20 minutes a game. Didn't even got a DNP one of the games, shooting 36% from the field and 20% from three. And I knew they kind of were expecting him to have a bigger role going into the season, but very Xavion Lee-esque. I know he's picked it up as of late, but like, man, these smaller guards are really struggling at this next level is what I'm starting to realize here. So hopefully they get some more point guard play. We talked about it from the beginning of the season. Their playmaking ability isn't where it needs to be. If St. John's had a true point guard with a true ability to create for others, I would love this team, but they just don't. And even when I really liked them at the beginning of the season, I admitted that was one of their flaws. So, and that's been very evident as the season's gone on.
Yeah. Well, let's head into the second game of the weekend. Ohio State, UNC, Tar Heels, -2.5 spread. Kind of a little generous, I think, in Ohio State's favor, to be honest. I think UNC should be favored by a little bit more than that. So going into this game, I think UNC obviously the favorite here, probably more than Vegas shows, but what does UNC need to do to take care of the Buckeyes in this game?
I just think slow down Thornton, especially. I think that people haven't really given him the flowers he deserves this so far this year, just because there's been a lot of other offensive threats that have been so impressive this year. Bruce Thornton's been really good, man. Like he's been killing the game, and I don't think he's gotten enough recognition for it. So really, just slowing him down, and then on the defense or the offensive end for themselves. Dude, just trust your front court, bro, because your front court is like the best in the nation, man. Caleb Wilson, we can't talk enough about Caleb Wilson. I think he's been a phenomenal college player. I don't know where I drafted him in the NBA draft, but as of right now, he's been really good at the college level. So, and Vesar, man, dude, talk about a guy that was not on my radar at all, dude. I mean, Henry Vesar has just been phenomenal for the Tar Heels. And every time he's on the floor and I'm watching them, it's just like every time he's one of those guys, like when he shoots the ball, you're expecting it to go in. Like some guys, you're just like, yeah, I don't know, like it's a good shot, whatever. Like every time he shoots the ball, I'm like, oh, that's cash. But that's cash. So if I'm UNC, just continue to do those things and trust your front court. Yeah,
I think for Ohio State, they've kind of been a sneaky team this year in the sense I'm looking at their schedule now. Like a lot of close wins, a lot of, they're 8-2. Pitt hit that buzzer beater on them. That could have been a win for them. It could be 9-1 right now with their only loss against Illinois by single digits. Like this is no like cakewalk of a team. I think that's
for sure.
Like you said, Bruce Thornton. Obviously, he's been there a while. Experienced veteran scorer on that team. Another team that's just kind of figuring it out with their transfers and stuff like that. Lot of turnover usually in that program. A lot of coming in, coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be interested in how they defensive game plan for Thornton and see what they do. They between Thornton and Mobley Jr. and even Royal, I mean they shoot the ball super well, all above 35% from three.
They do.
Bruce Thornton is shooting 50% from three right now.
He's killing it. Yeah. He's 8th in Division I in points. It's always fun, like the the mix and the dynamic between the young, exciting guards, the Kingston Flemings, the Darius Acuffs, like all those like young, all the young upcoming guards, and like the contrast, to, like okay, the older point guards, like the
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Thorntons, like the Braden Smiths, like all these like older guards and the younger guards, like it's just fun because they're completely different play styles. Like you got a chip on their like older guys have a chip on their shoulder because it's like oh like f you like you never believed in me from the start. That's why I've been in college for 4 years. So Bruce Thornton's been fun, man, and all the advanced stats at least on offense love him. So it'd be a fun game, man. A very under the radar game that I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, I think I'm also interested to see what UNC looks like going forward when Seth Trimble comes back. I think they've started to really hit like a kind of a groove without him. I think you've seen the Bogovac kid, however you say his name. He's kind of stepped up in a scoring role recently. In his absence, Evans has stepped up. Powell, Dixon, like a lot of these guys, a lot of these role player guards for UNC have stepped up in his absence. And like I said, I think I said this back then. I'm not saying that like Seth Trimble is bad or anything, but like I thought that this absence of him not being on the team is going to allow this team to find their identity without him, because I think they kind of revolved. They relied on him a lot offensively, and I don't know if Seth Trimble is a star guard on a national championship team. I think it's going to be kind of by committee for them, if they were to get there down the road.
That's actually a really good point. I never thought about that. I do agree. I don't think Trimble is a starting. I don't think Seth Trimble can be the best player on your team and you win a national championship.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point.
But I would even take it one further. I would say I don't think he can be your best guard. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I think
Right.
you got Caleb Wilson and Vasar, and like you could argue like one of them two is the best player on the team. But like, I just don't think if they want to go far in the ACC, in March Madness, ACC tournament, whatever, I just don't think they can rely on him offensively for being the guy like, hey, we're gonna throw him the ball and like he's gonna go get us a bucket. I think late game situations you're gonna see them throwing it to Bogovac or whatever. I don't even know how to say his name, but
or Kyan Evans, bro. Don't see Evans. He's been good too.
Yeah, he had that great shot against Kentucky that put him up that 3-pointer. So I agree. I completely agree. But
if you had to pick, who's winning? Both games. I'm probably picking
Kentucky in the first game. I think they've just got too much firepower. Honestly, I think when I look at both teams, and like you said, their defensive metrics are there for Kentucky. And when I look at both teams, I'm like, who would I rely on like offensively to put up numbers? And like this St. John's team, man, I just don't like where they're at offensively. Yeah. I don't think you can rely on a lot of these guys offensively yet. So I'll probably go Kentucky. If I had to pick, I'll probably pick UNC too. I think UNC's just kind of got it going on right now. I think this should be an easy win for them.
Yeah. I'll go Kentucky, and I will also go UNC. I like those picks. I agree with what you said about Kentucky. I think Pope's going to figure it out, and I think once they figure it out, they'll be fine. And I think this is the start. The ball's rolling for them. And then, UNC, man, they have been overrated for me personally this year, but I trust Caleb Wilson and I trust Henry Vasar too much, and I think that'll be another close game. Ohio State's been in a lot of close games this year, so I'll give North Carolina by a couple points that game.
Yeah, I was about to say another side note. I know surprisingly last year Ohio State played someone in this same. They always play in this CBS Sports Classic, and they played someone. Yeah. I think they played Kentucky, and they beat Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and it was very surprising. Right. Like I didn't expect them to be in it. So who knows? Who knows what we'll see? But appreciate y'all listening in. Leave your comments down below who y'all think is gonna win. What spreads y'all are taking for these games. Guess we'll see when the game comes out.
Do it, man. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right.